Hello everyone, this is attorney Kelly Hunt and this is one of my informative videos. Please keep in mind that these videos are not meant to educate attorneys or provide legal advice. They are simply intended to be a basic, simple overview of various legal topics and procedures. Today's video is all about our court system, which some people may find confusing or a little bit intimidating. In a basic level, we have various levels of governmental court systems. And I call these governmental because they usually are in line with the different governments who form them and monitor them. We have the federal court system, which hears anything federally related, any type of law or anything, conflicts, things along those lines. We have our state court system, which hears anything state related. We also have in there administrative courts, we have municipal courts, we have tribal courts. In Oklahoma, we have 38 tribal nations and 22 tribal courts. You also have specialty courts, which I'll go through in just a second. And along with that, for methods of resolving conflict, you may have arbitration or mediation. Now, those are not necessarily courts, and I'll explain those more in the other videos that specifically handle them because they're pretty special areas. For each of these levels of courts, the governmental courts, you usually have your intro court, otherwise known as maybe a state court, a federal court, a trial court, an intro court, but those are the first places that you go to tell the court, hey, I've got this issue, I need you to start helping me resolve it. If you don't like the outcome of that particular court, there is another level of court which will hear an appeal, or you saying, I don't like that, I don't agree with what happened at the other court level. Can you please look at it and see if it is actually the law and it is actually what I'm going to have to do? Above that, the appeals courts, you will have the highest possible court for that particular court, either federal, state, depending on what you're in. Those are usually referred to as the Supreme Court. And I'm sure most people at least have heard of the United States Supreme Court, but then we also have them at state and other levels. So for the federal courts are divided up into districts called the United States District Courts, and every state has a different number of them. For example, in Oklahoma, we have the Northern District, we have the Eastern District, and we have the Western District. I am actually licensed and able to practice in every single one of those district courts as an attorney. Just because I am licensed at the state level does not necessarily mean that I can just go and work cases in those levels. Along with that, for each of those district courts, you have different specialty courts. For example, you've got the Northern District Bankruptcy Court. I am also actually able to practice in the Northern and Eastern bankruptcy courts. So there's quite a few several courts, federal courts that I'm able to work in. At the state level, we do have our district courts, which are our trial courts, our introductory courts. We've got the Civil and Criminal Court of Appeals. We do break those up. And then we do have our Oklahoma Supreme Court, which is our highest state court in this particular state. Along with that, you've got different administrative courts. For example, you can have the Social Security Administration has their own area for resolving conflicts and hearing like appeals of decisions. Our Department of Human Services, or DHS, has their own administrative court, which can hear child support issues if you don't want to have that heard at a state court level. And then there are other specialty courts like patent courts, immigration courts that you can get involved in. Along with that, you can have different municipal courts like city court, and those are for basic things such as traffic tickets. If you're not wearing a seatbelt, those types of things may be heard in more municipal or city-based courts. As I also mentioned, you can have tribal courts. Tribal nations are their own separate nations, so they have their own rules, regulations that you have to file. I am actually licensed in 4 of the tribal courts here in Oklahoma. I'm licensed in Muskogee Creek Nation, Cherokee Nation, Choctaw Nation, and Pawnee Nation, because those are the tribal courts that I have worked in and had cases in, so I'm able to work in those. The tribal courts, not generally are you able to just go and start working cases in. You do have to do a separate admission in order to be able to handle cases there. So that is just a very, very general overview of our court system. Even though I'm licensed in all those courts, I predominantly work at the state level courts, handling civil cases, and also our probate court, which I'm going to also talk about more in a separate video, because a probate court is a specific court at the state court level. So if you want to know a little bit more about our probate courts or the types of cases that I handle in probate courts, please go ahead and watch the video for that one. If you have any other questions or you are finding yourself having to, resolve a conflict in any of our courts and you'd like to talk to me about it, please go ahead and give me a call and I would be more than happy to talk with you about it. Until then, have a great day.